to the What the Falk podcast. It is finally back, and we are here to get right into the swing of things with a Sunderland AFC season preview before you get all of the usual double dose of previews and reactions throughout the season from this week onwards. Today, it's going to be full of predictions, mainly, thoughts, occasionally, and excitement all throughout. And to join me are a few fellas. First and foremost, going into his third season with What the Falk, Dave. 3 seasons we're heading into now. Why are we still doing this?
I'm not quite sure. There's been plenty of discussion around it over the last season or so, but I guess when it becomes, well, either or, actually, it's quite nice not being mediocre, isn't it? We either go very good, as evidenced last season, or very terrible, as we experienced the 2 seasons before that. And it's a bit of excitement. We either console each other or we absolutely buzz off the chats after the game. So, yeah, here we go again, and hope for an improvement again. That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Ever since you've joined, Dave, and you, Brad, which I'm going to introduce you in just a moment, it's also your 3rd season. We've only ever been in playoff scraps. Brad, 3 years for yourself as well. Should we just stop, or should we continue with it? What do you think?
No, we'll keep going. Delighted to have signed a new contract. It's always been a dream of mine. I listened to you growing up. Something I always aspired to be part of, and I'm just delighted that I can extend my stay with you. And we've brought on a young'un since we got going, so it's nice to bring a bit of youth in there. Albeit he doesn't look that young with that hairline.
I was going to say.
I was waiting for that.
No, it's good to be back for a 3rd season. It's good for you to still want us to be around. Like Dave said, we're there to console each other and get the aggression out, or we're there to buzz off each other. And I hope it's the latter for the season ahead. But yeah, all good.
Sometimes I listen back to the Stoke preview when we got beat 5-1. No, review, sorry, last year, and I remember exactly why we do it. I'm absolutely smashed. If anyone wants to listen back to it, I'm actually slurring my words throughout, and it's relatively funny in hindsight. You had to be there, I think. Ross, it's your 2nd season, so again, another renewed contract. Kind of playing the Corey Evans role in a way, like, just year to year, but you're still here. You're still, I think, enjoying it. How are you doing? By the way, your head looks like an orange.
If he's playing the Corey Evans role, does that mean I absolutely hated him and slated the life out of him, and gradually he got a little bit better?
We weren't going to tell him about that.
Oh, God. What can I say? It's nice to make me loan deal permanent at the end of the season. I think I earned it. A few good performances. Missed a bit with injuries and water delays, but here we are, ready for the new season. And to be fair, I don't think I did too bad. I think I raised the level on the pitch. I don't know how, but we just seemed to raise the level as soon as I joined.
Somebody at the match the other day told me that you were, I like Ross. He brings that kind of intelligent football stuff, and immediately knew that guy never listened to the podcast.
Scandalous,
but factual.
Nice to see my family there, though.
Well, you've obviously paid the money for that. Dave, I know obviously not all of us went to the game. I know that we don't always catch the pre-seasons and stuff. I went down obviously on Saturday. I know you caught the first half, Dave, but it was probably the best half, to be honest. Bit of a Mallorca debrief we'll have before we go into predictions, previews and whatnot. But what did you make of the game on Saturday? Obviously, we're recording Monday night, so we haven't played Hartlepool yet.
I'm glad you said it was about the football on Saturday, because I could give you a few Mallorca debriefs from over the years when I was a kid if you wanted. Good old BCM or Bananas, personal favourite of mine. Football, yeah, first half was all I saw, and then I caught some highlights from the second half. I thought we looked very good. I thought, well, could I give it the old bull and matador analogy, just for anyone who loves it. They came and were very aggressive. I didn't realise they'd finished 9th in La Liga last year, so came from decent stock. And I thought we played well. Few tweaks here and there. I know Ekwa played in the holding anchor, and Job played a little bit further up front. We look a bit more physical. We look a bit more fit. I'm really excited, and I think I've heard a few people whisper it, but I'm claiming it before the game on Saturday. I I reckon Hamir is going to get close to 20 goals this season. I'm not saying he'll quite do it, and that's big expectation, but it's quite nice seeing a corner, albeit it went short first and foremost, straight after the ball went in the box and we scored. How long did it take us last year? So, yeah, really enjoyed watching it. Pato seems to have grown a little bit in stature as well, seems to have filled himself out a little bit. 09 doing 09 things. We've come to expect that by now. Try Hume, very good footballer. Yeah, really excited, to be fair.
Yeah, it does feel really positive heading into the season. And I sort of echo what you're saying about Hamir and Job as well. I think my big take from the game on Saturday was like there was some nice fancy football in the first half. Obviously, second half, they came with us and stuff a bit. But I think I knew we could play good football. I think the big take for me was that the size of a few of the lads on the pitch. Obviously, Ballard was back, Brad, and Hamir's up there, and Job was playing that number 10 role. So you had like a lot of height. Actually, Bellingham's huge for his age, but Hamir obviously gets the headlines. Another goal. We talked about him in the show last week about the preview show. The pre-season show. Look, the seasons when it really matters doesn't matter if he scored 50 goals in pre-season, but it certainly looks like maybe one of our weak spots last year, Brad. Going by the Mallorca game, and maybe pre-season as a whole has been maybe identified with some big physical lads that are able to mix it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, we touched on it last week. We addressed the reason why we didn't get to Wembley, which was high physicality, and it's actually starting to show that with a bigger lad up front, we can, like you said, get a goal from a corner. Danny Bart scored from a corner as well. Just shows what we're missing. But it was nice to see. I mean, I didn't see a lot of the game. I've watched a bits back. It was good that we weren't always just playing the lovely football we came accustomed to last season. Pato was able to get the ball, and we were able to go along quite quickly. Miss out the midfield. Hamir was able to bring it down his chest, and we're on the front foot straight away. Something which we've seen. You can count on two hands really what we were able to do that last season. So it's exciting that Mowbray has been able to bring him into the team, and we've been able to change, albeit in pre-season, but we've been able to change from playing the silky football to playing long football if we need to. So that gives me a lot of confidence. And look, the boy has scored 4 in pre-season and forced an own goal, maybe. So 3 and forced an own goal. Yeah, he's 19-year-old, so he'll take that as a lot of confidence. And I'm with Dave. I think he'll get close to 20, if not exceed 20, and he'll be the surprise package in the league this season.
Yeah, I've got to admit I was really impressed with him. Mainly impressed with him running off the substitutes bench to defend Luke 09 and batter everyone that was in the way. For a 19-year-old kid defending his teammates after got the preseason game, they're very happy with that. But obviously, the person that got absolutely walloped on Saturday with that absolutely shocking tackle, by the way, Ross, was Luke 09. But I think everyone's seen the tackle and seen the skirmish afterwards. I think we're all kind of okay with it. 09 though. 5 years at Sunderland today at the time of speaking. Great servant, and it looks like he's going to be in the team again next year and obviously proving himself once more.
Yeah, I think every time I've personally doubted him, he then comes up trumps again. He's done that quite a lot. He can cover a multitude of positions. He's very adaptable. And I think that's what Mowbray really likes about him, how many positions he played centre mid against QPR. Centre back in a 2, centre back in a 3. He even covered it right back. He's played everywhere last season. I feel like his adaptability is what managers love, and every manager's really liked him. So it'll be good. It's good to have somebody with continuity there as well. Like, how many times over the years did we just have turnover and churn players? And he's with a lot of young lads. You need leaders in there, and he seems to me like a leader. And out of nowhere, from when he came here as a young lad, he's now one of the oldest steady heads in the group. So yeah, and it looks like it was reported today that it looks like he's going to get a new deal. So that would be canny, because I think he's only got a year left after this.
Yeah, more than happy with him getting a new deal. I think Roberts needs to be in the agenda as well. And obviously, I don't know whether Sunderland accidentally leaked the Pato signs yesterday. I don't know what the heck that was. If no one knows what I'm talking about, go on Twitter. It makes more sense to me discussing it. Brad, a bit of obviously bad news, I suppose, is the fact that we've signed a brand new striker. He's played 1 played. One training session done, one training session, ripped his hamstring, out for 2 months. Is that the most Sunderland thing ever, Brad?
Based on last season, yeah. I'm surprised he didn't pull it on the plane on the way out. It's a shame. Don't know anything about the lad, to be honest with you. So, but yeah, it's a shame for him more than us. Because I don't think he was there to start the season. He was there to maybe just go into it. It's just a bit of a nightmare start for him, really. But I think we're going to have to bring in another striker anyway. Had he been fit, like I say, I don't think he was there to really start the season and start banging them in for us straight away. But it's up the ante, shall we say, to get this new striker in before the season starts, because we can't go in just with him here, because, like you say, we are Sunderland. I don't want to tempt fate, but for me, it starts on Sunday, and the worst happens, we're back to square one. So, yeah, it is a crying shame for him, but look, we have to get on with it. Can't really do much about it now.
I think when you're looking at, obviously, the season as a whole, the pre-season as a whole, you're looking at him here when he came off. I think it was Benetti that went up front, and it didn't really work. So yeah, I think I'd like a new striker to come in as well there. One person we haven't really touched on yet, Dave, and obviously we're going to get into the pre-season predictions and whatnot, but Bradley Dack, I'm happy with that. I'm more than happy with the signing. I think it's all right. I think mainly not because I'm really excited that it's Bradley Dack. I think he could be a really good signing. I've wanted experience. He definitely brings that. Yes, there's the negatives of I think he's had 2 ACLs, but he's on a 1-year contract. I understand the wages aren't massively high, and the option, if he is really good for us and does do us a service, we can extend that by an extra year. But for me, Dave, Bradley Dack's a good signing in the context of how we've signed him, do you think?
Massively. Certain people who I know won't appreciate us making positive comments about certain people, but he wants to go and play in the Premier League. He realises he hasn't got too long left, probably. Sunderland are definitely keen on a return to the Premier League. I think it's definitely in the. I think playoffs is probably what they've secretly said behind the scenes. So Dack will realise this could be a shot at the Premier League for him. I think it's a great move for certain members of the squad. I can imagine a Joe Bellingham learning a lot from a Bradley Dack. He's had a long career. He's still not old by any stretch of the imagination, but he will fit in that senior part of the team. Him and Corey Evans have worked together before. Him and Tony Mowbray have worked together before. So yeah, a lot of positives, low risk. I'd imagine he's took a pay cut to come play at Sunderland, which means that he probably wants to be here. I think it was a couple of free pasties for Olivia and Greggs and Bridges, to be fair, but anything will swing a deal nowadays.
I just want to point out, if anyone says that we can't convince players to come to the club because their wives don't want to sign for Sunderland, don't want to live in Sunderland, well, Olivia Atwood now potentially might live in Southwick. I can't confirm or deny if that is true. I would never give away the addresses of people, but more the point. Brilliant. Well done, Olivia. Thanks for open sticks and letting Bradley move to the club. Unless he's rubbish, then please just go back. Ross, we'll get onto the obviously the pre-season predictions, preview and stuff if you want. But I think, simple question: how do you see the season going? I think we had a good discussion last year about how it would go, and we said a free hit. Obviously, it's a different kettle of fish now. So, how do we approach it? How do you think we will get on with it?
Well, I think the club speaking especially said that we want to go the next step, the next level, and if getting to the playoffs is then from where we were and to go to the next step, then it's got to be promotion, isn't it? I think we underestimated how good the individuals we signed last season were, and how quick the players from League One would step up. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm a bit nervous with the window still open, because to me we need 3 or 4 at a push more in, and I still think the squad's quite a size, so there will there will have to be departures. I'm hoping it's just loans so that are young lads, but it wouldn't surprise me if one or two did depart. As long as they're replaced and we bring in quality in the positions that we require, then I'm excited, because I think last season we showed without a forward we can really have a go at teams at this level, and we did it with no centre backs for the last 8 games. So we signed well. We've signed physical players, which was good, because it's been mentioned 100 times over. That was our weak link last season. We conceded loads from set pieces, even with Bart and Ballard there, because the rest of the team were still small. We brought in players in that area who were taller. And I just feel like now, as a club on the pitch, never forget off it, but on the pitch, it feels like we're ready to have a good go for it. And I think, to me, it'll all depend on our home form. It's got to improve. It was poor last season. So if we can, with a focal point, I think that'll make a difference. But yeah, I'm excited, but with a tinge of skepticism over the transfer window and what's going to happen in the next few weeks.
Yeah, I think so too. It's like, because when I was writing these questions down and asking obviously your opinions, there was part of me that was like, I don't feel like the squad's finished, and I mean that in a positive and a negative. I feel like we might be able to hang on to Jack Clark if the only person interested is Burnley. I was worried that he'd had been turned. But obviously they're bringing Andros Townsend and they brought in Nathan Redmond. So you've got to hope that, maybe Jack Clark will look at that and think, no, there's still question marks on Ross Stewart. There's potentially still question marks on Danny Bart, because I don't really know where that went. But obviously, I agree. Yeah, I think there's a way to go with the transfer window, and it's kind of hard to judge. But what I do want to ask, and I'll pop this one to Brad, we have made a fair number of signings. Obviously, Mienda, I think is the way you pronounce it. He is injured. Hamir, we've touched on already. Who do you see as being our sort of key signings? Maybe Hamir, I think, is the obvious, but outside of that?
Well, yeah, it's got to be Hamir, really. But for me, I think the key deal that we've pulled this summer is tying Chris Rigg down. Because I think he, from the bits I've seen on the weekend, I mean, he took 3 of their players out without even touching the ball. One flick and he's away. Yeah, I mean, I haven't really seen enough of the other players. Triantis, he's been late coming in, sealed, injured, played, and I think he's injured again. But for me, I think the key signing this summer was tying Chris Rigg. Because he knows he's got a couple of years scholarship now. I mean, next season, he knows if he gets a good season under his belt this year, he'll be offered a full professional contract next season, whether it be with us or other clubs coming in to look at him. So this is a key season for him, and I just think he looks absolutely outstanding. I mean, it's a bold claim I'm going to make, but you know me, I make big bold claims. I think he's got all the early attributes of a young Paul Gascoigne when I watch him play. I think he's that good.
What, at drinking or playing football?
He's not old enough to drink yet, so I wouldn't know that one yet.
That's true, actually. God, I didn't even think about that.
You still have to get the lads to go to the bathroom. No, I do seriously think he's the key signing this season for us. But outside of that, players coming into the club, you can't look any further than what Hemi has done pre-season. I mean, you can only judge on what you've seen in pre-season, but him's basically been brought in to score goals and lead the attack, and he's been doing that. It's only a positive. So I see him as being the key signing at the moment.
Yeah, I think so too. I kind of asked a question, sort of knew that Hamir was going to be the main one. I think it's kind of obvious from what we've seen so far, and I think just in the context of the team at the moment, we knew how important a striker was. He's our only striker, so he's obviously pivotal and he's been scoring goals. But I agree with Chris Rigg. I think, I don't want to be too expectant of him so far, but you can see the kid sort of enjoys playing football. The way he took those 3 players out was just outstanding for a kid of 16. I don't think he looks as small as he did when he first came in, and I think having 9 subs, it'll give you. There's been games last year where we were quite comfortable and a couple of goals up, you can give him those 10, 50 minutes here or there to get a bit of experience and stuff like that, gain his confidence a bit even more. But you can probably also bring him on to try and change games in the last 20 minutes, and you can probably start him in cup games. I think for him, it's going to be an ideal season and his progression. Fingers crossed at the end, but he's still with us. But obviously, you can see the kid's got an awful lot of talent. Dave, I'll ask you the same question. I think we'll all probably admit here that Hamir is going to be probably the key signing of the players we brought in so far. But outside of Hamir, where do you see the key signings being? That can also include, the likes of Chris Rigg, if you prefer the way Brad spoke with the new contract.
It's a hard one. It's a hard one to analyse, really. Like Brad said, Hamir, we've probably seen most of. Bellingham looks like a big, strong, fit lad, athletic. But still not that old, as he just turned 18, I think.
I think he's still 17, mate, to be honest.
Still 17, yeah. I knew he wasn't that old. So, interesting, isn't it? Because, I'm not suggesting he's anywhere near as good as Jude was at that age, but Jude was probably 17, 18, having that breakthrough season at Birmingham before he then went to Dortmund, wasn't he? So, Job's in the same age bracket. It'd be interesting to see where he goes for the season. But I guess it's intrigue. For me, I still think the signings of the season, people have been expecting them for the last 20 minutes of listening. But the two signings of the season that I'd love to see would be Roscoe and Patrick Roberts, if I'm honest. I think they're the elder statesmen of the squad. I think they bring a lot of quality to the squad. And I'd love to see them tied down. I think I've seen that many opinions on things with Roscoe at the minute, and Southampton's apparently shelved their interest. Interesting that they had such a big interest for where he's at and what he's been doing. But I'd love to see us tie them down. And if we did get towards the final third of the season and we needed a bit of experienced heads to get us over the line, and I think people like that would be massive for the football club. Plus the fact that I think they're very, very talented footballers, and have less chance of burning out at the age that they're at. Of course, people's going to throw back in my direction. Roscoe's been injured a couple of times, but people are loving the Bradley Dack signing, and he's had a couple of big injuries. So we've got to have a bit of equilibrium somewhere. Yeah, Brad makes a good point. They're not players that come in, but there's not too much to go on with anyone else, is there? Yeah, Hamir, I really like the look of him. I've made a bold statement as well with I think he'll get close to 20 goals this season. So yeah, and I'm going to shelve as much as I can about Chris Rigg. It's a great signing to get him tied down for 2 years. But I do worry that he's gonna force himself into the first team very quickly this year. As much as Tony Mowbray might not like it, I think he's got something exceptionally special about him, and I can't see him keeping him out too long. And I think that unfortunately, brings the vultures around for us. Which is, it's nice that we're being noticed for the right reasons now, because there wasn't too many people after Charlie White at one point, was there? But fingers crossed.
I think with Chris Rigg, I kind of agree. I think if the kid's got the talent that, obviously the scouts and people seem to think he has. He's the under-18s England captain, I think, or under-19s maybe. But if he does reach the potential you want him to reach, it's kind of one of those, dare I say his name these days, because I'm not the biggest fan of him at the moment, but Jordan Henderson, he's gone on to bigger and better things in Sunderland and won everything that is to be won. And, if he goes on and has a career like anything like that, or more so, I suppose you just enjoy the season or 2 seasons he's here, and then go onwards, a bit like Jude Bellingham at Birmingham. I'm sure Birmingham fans would love to see him back, but when you see him 2 years after he's played for your club in the Championship, playing for Real Madrid, you kind of just go, well, fair enough. I think if he performs anywhere near the level of his potential in 2 seasons he's with us, it'll be a joy to see him. I really hope the kid fulfills his potential. I really, really do. And I hope we get to see some of that over the next couple of years. Ross, obviously, we've said, I think Hamir is the obvious signing. I think I agree with Dave. I would love to see Ross sign a new contract. I've made no secret of that. I think Roberts is hugely important to sign a contract as well. But I think it's a difficult season in many ways, and we spoke last season about what comes next season because the expectation has been raised that high. We said we think behind closed doors it might be a playoff push, but should we be aiming higher, or is it a dangerous position? The fact that as fans we're now expecting, I think, minimum playoffs, and maybe without Diallo and things don't always go as perfectly as it did last season. Is there a danger that maybe we're being too expectant as well?
I don't know. I think it's hard to judge because it all depends for me on the teams, how the teams coming down do. Like last season, Watford and Norwich shit the bed, didn't they? It absolutely stunk the place out. Whereas from on paper, you look at the squads of Leicester in particular, and you think like they've got to be up there, innit? They've got to be like, and if not, something's seriously gone wrong. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how they do. All the clubs that came down. For us, Ahmad was a match winner, but then we also didn't have strikers, so it's like for what we've lost, we've gained. So it's going to be tough to replace what Ahmad does, but at the same time, we've then got other options to win games and score goals, which we didn't have previously. So it's a catch-22, isn't it? You'll have to see how it goes, but I think, as I say, if we can rectify our home form, then there's no reason why we can't challenge at the top.
Brad, that's a really good point. Probably got overlooked a little bit by the fact that I went and beat Luton and then lost the away game without scoring, which was something that we basically didn't do all season. We scored every away game and won more away from home. But I think that could be key to this being a really successful season in terms of promotion, couldn't it, Brad? Keeping the away form. I mean, all right, look, last year's was exceptional, but if we can get anywhere near that and then really improve the home form and really make the home form like the stadium like a fortress, that could be really the difference between us having a successful season that might see us talking about a Premier League season next season as opposed to, I was going to say, another season in the Championship after the 4 seasons in League One. That doesn't sound as bad as it maybe used to do, but I think ultimately our aim is going to be the Premier League, but the home form is going to determine whether that's this season or the next few years, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. There was an issue last season, and I think Tony Mowbray addressed it. I say February, March time. He said something needs to be done about the home form. He knew that long in advance, so I'd like to think that we're planning for that as well. A lot of that does come down to the character of the players, I think. I don't know if the pressure maybe's got to them a little bit much, or it was solely because we didn't have a striker and we were trying to play out from the back. And when teams come to us, rightly or wrongly, they do put a few more banks behind the ball, and it was harder to break down. So having this new option of a big front, hopefully a couple that are there, should see us be able to improve the home form and be able to, at least if one system isn't working, change it. Where last year I don't think we had that issue. We didn't have that option, and it did become a bit of a hindrance. And then when we were going away from home, teams were more likely to come at us, and we were able to pick them off by playing that type of football. So I would like to think that we can replicate the away form. It might not be as good, but if we get within 9 to 12 points of what we picked up away from home and seriously improve the home form, then we will be within a chance. Because look, I mean, I think we finished the season 3rd or 4th in the away table, which is outstanding, really. But if you can finish around 8th to 5th or 6th in the away table, but really be up there with the big boys in your home form, you're going to give yourself a real chance. And I think that the caliber of player like Bradley Dack coming in is one of them that can sort of steady it, give you that experience on how to win games, because he's more of the attacking experience. Corey Evans was more like it, keeping that the defense just in front of the defense, keeping them level headed and right. But Bradley Dack's that experience that can maybe drive us forward if the games aren't going our way as well. So yeah, the home form's going to be massive. Look, I don't want to sit there. How many we wins home last season? Was it 7 or 8 at the most? I'm not 100% sure, but it wasn't too many. Yes, we were entertained. The football was excellent. We picked up probably too many draws at home, which on another day we said if we had a striker, if we had a big lad up front, we'd have turned them into wins. But with the strike that's come in, see who else comes in, we can hopefully address that and turn some of them draws into wins and be happy at the stage of my life.
Dave, I think we'll go like a bit of a quick fire round here because I think it's such a monopoly of a season compared to last year where you had a bit more you could get your teeth into. I think this season, because of last season's unexpected playoff finish and the fact that I don't think that window's seen Sunderland squad is going to end the season, shall we say, or at least start the season properly in like September time. It's kind of hard to judge, if we're honest, which I suppose defeats the point of the podcast. So thanks very much, everyone. But one thing I want to ask Dave is straightforward question: where do you think we will finish this season?
I'm probably going to surprise a few people and say that I think we finished about 22nd. Nah, I'm just joking. I actually think we're going to finish second. I have no idea why, but I really, really, really fancy us this year. To the point that I've had a bit of a punt on it. I've had 50 quid each way at 20 to 1. So yeah, going all the way with it. Really, really fancy us to do well. I think we play good football. I think we've addressed a few things, and it's a big ask because whoever alluded to it earlier, Southampton, Leicester, they're going to be strong. Not so worried about Leeds, although we all know how much of a cauldron that game is going to be, home and away. Yeah, really fancy us to finish second.
Ross, same question to you, mate.
I think we'll finish fourth and win the playoffs.
I was going to say, is it then a successful playoff or is it not a success? Do you know, it's mad though when you listen to this season compared to last season, our predictions. It's almost like we're terrified of seeing anything less than playoffs.
Yeah, I feel like we've set the mark now. We've set the bar. You've got to, the day, without sounding full Gary Neville, but we're Sunderland in the Championship. Like, we should be aiming for the playoffs once you've got the squad there. It's where we were last season, and I just feel like if we get the playoffs, we'll be better for it, and we'll win. We'll win the lot. We've got rid of the Wembley hoodoo, so fuck it.
This is the thoughts of Ross Black, not What the Falk podcast. Brad, same question to you. You said playoffs last year. You're one position off. You said fifth. To remind everyone, we finished sixth, obviously. I have a feeling I know where you're going to tip us this season because you're more optimistic than most. But go on, surprise me.
Well, I said it after the Luton one, where I think we'll finish. I'm not going to change. We're going to finish third, so I'm going right in the middle of you two. I think we'll be in and around with a shout until the last 3 or 4 games. And whoever's in the top 2 might pick up a couple of results, which will just pull them a bit clear. But I will use the same words as what I said last season at some point. We'll get into the playoffs and we will spank the Boa. No, seriously. I'd quickly mention the Middlesbrough. I don't think they'll be anywhere near. I don't know why people are tipping them. 3 of their best players last season were loan players and they aren't coming back. So I can't understand the optimism. But hey ho, this is a Sunderland podcast, not a smoggy one. I think we'll finish third and we will be in the top 2 for a bit of the season. But I just think we'll fall short. But I agree with Ross. I think we'll go up via the playoffs.
So I've wrote down, because the next question's I'm going to give it away anyway. I don't know if this is head or heart, but I'll just say it anyway and I'll let you lot decide if you think it's head or heart. I have a sneaky suspicion, very similar to Dave, that we're going to finish second. Truthfully, it's not a head or heart. It's more of a gut feeling. My gut's normally wrong, so don't take anything from that. But and I think a lot of how we start the season will be really, really important, as it always is. For want of a cliche, it's how you start the season, also how you finish it. But I think momentum's massive in football, and I think momentum is half the reason that we had such a good season last season, because we came in and started quite well, won games against experienced championship sides. So my next question is going to be regarding the first month of the season. I'll stick with you, Dave, for this one. I'll go in the reverse order last time. First 4 games of the season: Ipswich at home, Preston away, Rotherham at home, Coventry away. How many points do we get from the first 4 games?
Oh, interesting. I'm going to go with absolutely wild. I need pegging down a bit because I'm not normally this optimistic. I'm going to go with 10 points, I reckon. And I'm going to give, I'll even call it, I think it's the Cov game where we dropped 2 points. So I think we're on for three wins from the first 3. I really fancy us. Oh, I'm asking for trouble here, and I hope there's no Ipswich. I presume you'll be on with a preview at some point. But I really fancy us to spank Ipswich 4-0 next week. I have no idea why.
No.
Well, I know we're an audio podcast, as we keep saying, but we are on camera with each other, and the lad's reaction there is absolutely priceless. But yeah, I really fancy us to get off to a really, really fast start. I fancy 4-0 on Sunday, and yeah, 10 from the first 12 points.
Ross. Same question.
Minimum 7. Minimum 7.
I'm not asking you for a minimum. I'm asking you for an actual. You don't go to the bookies. You can go, I think Sunderland will finish minimum 7th, but if they go above that, I want more money. No. You be Graham Souness, get your flag, put it in the middle of the pitch.
7 then. I'm going to stick to 7.
7?
I just feel like as we find our feet, I feel like 7 would be until we get our full squad in summer window done. I think 7 will be a good start as long as at least one of the wins is at home.
Yeah.
To get the crowd on side.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it'll come on Sunday, hopefully.
Is anyone else shit scared of Broadhead though?
No.
Just me. Oh well, sorry.
Nah, not really. I think don't get me wrong, I actually really rate Broadhead, but I think if Nathan Broadhead is a problem for us on Sunday, we can stop thinking about getting promoted, because realistically he's nowhere near one of the best strikers in this league. I'm a bit more concerned about Ellis Sims a few weeks after. Brad, I'll tell you what I'm going for. I was going to go for 9. I think I'm going to go for 7 and try and be a bit more realistic. Are you going to go 12? Are you going to be Mr. Realistic?
9. And
yeah,
the
I can see
game
that.
I think we'll lose. I think we'll get beat off Ipswich.
Oh, bloody hell, man.
And I don't know why, because everything else is screaming that we are going to get off to a good start. I just think that will be a kick up the arse, because we've had a good pre-season. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope it is 12. But I have a sneaky feeling it'll be very edgy at the weekend. And it might just give us a wake-up call and a bit of a kick up the backside. And I think we'll pick up 9 points.
I take the 9 to get beat off Ipswich, to be fair, rather than 7 over the 4. So, final question. I think we'll give some of the positions away here. And, well, I certainly have anyway, and Dave has. But I want you all, we didn't do this last season, to pick your top 3 and your bottom 3. I've got a bit of a shocker in here that I think I'm going to be wrong with. And I'm going to throw this to Ross. I want you to pick, when I say your top 3, I mean your 2 promoted teams and then who wins the playoffs. Obviously, you've said Sunderland, so you can give me a top 3. Oh, did you say Sunderland 3rd? No, you said 4th.
4th.
Aye.
What? So why don't you just pick your promoted teams instead of top 3? That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Promoted, I'm going to say Leicester, Southampton if they keep Ward-Prowse, Sunderland. Relegated, I'd say Rotherham, Cardiff, and this is a tough one. I'm not really sure. There's so many meh teams, isn't there? Sheffield Wednesday, because they've had a shocker since getting promoted. Why on earth would you get rid of Darren after everything you've done? Just baffles my mind.
Just a nice guy.
Great guy. He's a lovely lad, isn't he?
Just a nice lad. Just a nice lad.
Barry Bannon,
no, I mean, no, Barry Bannon, no. Dave, same question to you. Top 3, bottom 3.
So I think we're going with Leicester as champions, Sunderland in second, to win via the playoffs. I think I'm going to go. I really fancy a bit of a different one this year. I'm going to say Southampton miss out in the playoffs, probably the playoff final. I tell you what, I'll go back to my third team. My bottom three are very similar to Ross, to be fair. I think Sheffield instead of Cardiff. I'm going QPR. I think they're woeful. And I fancy Rotherham to go down as well. Go up through the playoffs. Do you know something? I'm going to put it out there. I don't know why. I think they've done a bit of good business and it's still the same man in charge. I reckon Coventry. Coventry might just sneak in there. So I'm going to go Coventry to beat Southampton in the playoff final.
Brad, same question.
Just looking at the teams as you were talking.
It's the expert opinion of what the Falk podcast. We have no idea who anyone else has signed. We don't care who anyone else has signed. Leicester might be all right. We think Southampton might be good, and Rotherham are probably going to be shy. But we know nothing about football, so don't come at us. We know nothing about football. Very similar to the Second Tier podcast.
I think we'll go up by the playoffs because I've already made that prediction. I think Southampton will finish second. And just because of the new manager, I know that they aren't looking great. I think Leeds might actually win the league. So I think Daniel Falk does know how to get out of this league. Yeah, I'll stick with them. I'll go with them. Relegated, bottom of the league, Stoke. That stupid bald man. Well, not you, Ross. Alex Neil. No. I actually think the three to go down will be QPR. I think Plymouth. And I have a sneaky feeling West Brom are going to be down there.
Oh, that's some
because
shout.
They've lost some players and they aren't signing very many. And I think they are in a lot of trouble at the moment. Things might change, but at this moment in time, I can't see West Brom having a very good season. So I'm going to stick with them three as well.
So I've said where I think Sunderland are going to finish. So second. I think it's really hard to look past Leicester for winning the league. If you're just going on paper, like, they're still a good team anyway. They've signed some really good players for this level. Like, Connor Cody's ridiculous. He's arguably, and I know we're not that strong in the defence at international level compared to the rest of the positions we've got, but he's arguably still about the fourth or fifth best centre half that's in the England squad, give or take. Even if he's the sixth or seventh, like, and you disagree with us on that, Championship football, it's just like, yeah, Leicester should steamroller it. I think if it's not Leicester, it would be Southampton very much if Ward-Prowse stays, because I think Ward-Prowse is a fantastic footballer, lovely to watch as well. But I'm going to tip Leicester. I've got just a gut feeling that I'll be Sunderland in second. It's just that, literally a gut feeling. And then my playoffs are going to be Bristol City, because I feel like they were one of the most impressive teams I saw last season. I know Alex Scott's probably going to go by the time the season starts, but he wasn't the one that impressed me the most, to be completely honest. And I just have a feeling Pearson's got another big season in him. And I quite like Nigel Pearson in a kind of odd way. I don't know why, but I just do. Teams to go down, quite similar to a few people's opinions. I think Rotherham will go. I hope they don't, because it's nice to see like a team that predominantly doesn't spend that long in the Championship punching above their weight. They did well last season. They're obviously a strong physical team. They've got a decent boss there as well. But I do think they'll go. I think Plymouth will go as well. The manager doesn't have too much Championship experience, if any experience at all, but he did do brilliant last year. I just think this will be the kind of the seasons where he learns about himself and his team. And I think, you look at the players they've signed, and not that they're bad players, but I just feel like, Plymouth will have to do a lot. The jump, although it wasn't for us, tends to be quite big. I think we were like the exception to the rule last year as opposed to the regular occurrence. And I agree with Ross. I think Chef Wed, for no apparent reason, have just threw a grenade at the football club. I don't really understand why they did what they did. I still probably don't. I think a lot of their players are on the wrong side of 27, 28. Haven't really brought in anything that I think is massively impressive. And I just think momentum's even bigger. I don't think they're the worst three sides in the league. I just think momentum both ways can swing either way. And I just think, look, it's a prediction. I could be completely wrong, but I think Chef Wed, Plymouth and Rotherham, and then Leicester, Sunderland, Bristol City to go up. And Hull to finish in mid-table, right in the middle. But lads, thanks for joining. It's kind of weird getting back in the swing of it. We haven't done that many, and I kind of forget how to do them again. But hopefully, I'll remember how to do them, doing 2 a week moving forward. But Brad, Dave, Ross, thanks for joining me, and onwards to Sunday.
Absolute pleasure, mate. Looking forward to a 4-0 win.
Look forward to a defeat and then 3 wins off the bounce.
Looking forward to our point at home. There you go, neutral.
I look forward to doing the podcast on Sunday.